Welcome everybody to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is episode 51, January 18th, 2022. Today is my birthday. I am 2,000 years old. Anyway, and I'm here with my girlfriend, Rockan.
2,000 years old.
Something like that. It's a rough estimate. It's very rough. You know, when you're talking time traveler years, you can't really be accurate because it's all
My
relative
character
to time
was
travel.
about that age.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he born in ancient Rome?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a fertility god. Yeah, he's on all of those hieroglyphics, all the pottery, all those like ancient erotic pottery of like fertility gods. Yeah, he's on a lot
And
of
that's
those.
the Commander Baylock mask behind you.
Yeah, I know.
So this is your new VR setup?
Yeah, behind me. Yep, and the airbed gets taken out when I did VR last time. When I do VR for now, and the airbed gets taken out when I do VR, and then when I sleep, I put it back.
So yeah, so for my birthday, I guess you could talk about how we met. We met on Tinder.
Yeah.
I first matched with you on Tinder in September 2016, but we didn't actually meet for the first time in person till February of 2017.
Yeah.
So how was that? How was your experience on Tinder, going through Tinder?
You mean before I met you?
Yeah, before you met me, the whole deal.
It was
You don't want to go into it too personal.
No, it's not that. It was a long time ago. I'm just trying to recall. I'm just trying to walk back in my footsteps and trying to recall because it was a very long time ago.
Well, I remember, we met on Tinder. I had used Tinder for probably 2 years prior to meeting you.
Right, and I hooked up with a few other people before hooking up with you.
Yeah, I had gone out on one other. You were only my second Tinder date. There was another girl. I'm not going to mention her name.
I think you were like my third.
Okay, and she was the first person that I met in person. There were several people that I talked to on the phone, but I never felt comfortable meeting them. There was even one woman who was like a Trump supporter. And this is before Trump even became president. I couldn't stand Trump in 2016.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Because Trump would do Trump rallies in 2016. This is before he was president. And people would protest his rallies because of some of the hatred that he was spewing. And then he would get his supporters to beat up peaceful protesters, to beat up reporters. And he would be like, I'll pay for your legal bills. And so I knew Trump was bad news even way back in 2016. It's, hindsight's not 2020 if you were actually paying attention. And so I remember there was this girl that I talked to. I don't even know why I talked to her for like a couple of months on the phone. And she was talking about like, yeah, Trump's all about getting them Muslim terrorists. And, I can't even go to vacation to Spain anymore, but Trump's going to fix that. And she was just like a Trump nut. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to meet you. And she was talking about how she was driving her Lexus. She had two different Lexus, so this woman was really wealthy.
Yeah.
And she was older, but I had no interest in meeting her. She just sounded like psychotic from hell. But yeah, I'm very glad that I met you. It took a while because I matched with you in September, but we didn't meet up for several months later.
Well, my parents, in a lot of ways, in some ways you have my parents to thank for all of this because one of the first guys that I had matched with on Tinder, I was really eager to go out with a date, to go out with him on a date, but like my mom more so was the one who threw a big temper tantrum, and my dad was worried about the guy too, because he wanted to eat at a fancy restaurant during the first date. So he just gave us like, that just basically gave us like bad vibes, like, oh yeah, this guy expects sex right away off the bat,
He wanted to eat at a fast food restaurant.
a fancy restaurant.
Oh, a fancy. Oh, okay. So he's expecting something in return for eating at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah, and I didn't
Got it.
know that. Yeah, yeah, and I was too young to really know that. Yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah. So that got it was a heated confrontation with my mom more so. It was really bad. My mom was like saying that she was gonna call the police if I saw this guy, even though I was over the age of 18. She was basically saying that she was
You
gonna
were
tell the
19 at the
police.
time, you know,
Yeah,
so
she said she was gonna call the police and tell the police if I went out with this
oh
guy. Yeah.
geez. Yeah.
Yeah, she was threatening to involve
So
police. Yeah, she was like that
was this
scared of
guy
it.
creepy? I mean, like, did he look good? What?
Um, you know what? He said he was like a tutor, so to me he just kind of seemed like a normal guy, but my parents both thought it was really weird that he wanted to eat at a fancy restaurant right away.
Yeah, usually like um
That wasn't my first
Tinder
match.
wasn't
That
my
was like my
first
second
dating
or
app.
third
I
match.
had in the past I'd used like
Yeah.
Match.com. I also used Plenty of Fish. I met an ex-girlfriend through plentyoffish.com. You know, in all the years that I've used dating apps up until I met you, usually I would meet at a public place, like something casual, like a coffee shop,
Yeah.
so that you're not
Or
obligated
yeah.
to buy anything expensive, and you kind of feel whether you're going to be able to hook up with that person or not, or be able to, have chemistry with that person. Because there was one girl I went to It's Not Dead Fest, and we just didn't really have any chemistry. That's why I felt really bad because she paid for, this was back in 2015. This was like a year before I met you. She paid for concert tickets to It's Not Dead Fest and paid for all the food. And I rode in her pickup truck. She was a pharmacist, so she made good money. Um, and I felt really bad because she went all out for me, but I just was not feeling it. And the It's Not Dead Fest was kind of miserable because it was September and it was still really, really hot. It was late summer. It was still really hot. And I told her that she should wear, cover protection. And she was wearing only a tank top and no cover, no protection. She's a redhead and she got really, really badly sunburned. And so I had to, and she almost passed out. We had to get a lot of water, and she had to buy a hat to keep the sun out of her eyes because we were just baking in direct sunlight. And the concert lasted 12 hours. I'd never been to a music festival before. It was pretty neat. I remember the Vandals. That was the only prom. There was another band called Manic Hispanic. So yeah, it was kind of cool, but it was the festival was exhausting because it lasted all day and it was super expensive. She had to have spent, I think the tickets were $44 a person, and then she spent probably another $50 or $60 on food, another $20 or $30 on gas because it was all the way up in Pasadena. But yeah, you've heard of the It's Not Dead Fest, right? I don't even know if they still have
Not
it.
not until you mentioned it the first time you told me about this.
Well, It's Not Dead refers to punk rock. It's a punk rock uh, festival.
Oftentimes with punk rock things, you don't hear about them unless you're in the punk rock circles.
Well, I mean,
You have to
this
kind of like
girl
be
was
in the
this
circle
girl
to
that I
hear about
dated
it.
was in the punk rock circle, and she also
Yeah, you
liked
have to
going.
be like in the
She
scene
also
to hear
liked going
about
to the
it.
Burning Man. She also, I think, liked going to Burning Man and gaslight events, which is like Burning Man light. I wish I had a vehicle. I would get more into that stuff, but I'm kind of isolated, kind of tight in money, so I haven't really gotten out like I'd hoped to. But I'm definitely doing a lot better than I was. But I'm not going to get into specifics of that.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm doing. Like my part of my life is going to be spent in VR. That's why I really like optimistic about like the future of like VR events and stuff in VR chat. There may not be like I'm saying when I say I'm optimistic for the future of VR, I mean like I'm optimistic for like the future of like stuff like VR chat, like VR social apps, but VR as a whole, like VR as a whole may be questionable, but I know the whole thing with like the meta thing, on Facebook, like that's really like a big deal, and like Quest being so widely
Well, Mark
available, that's
Zuckerberg,
really a big deal. Big deal.
Mark,
It might,
Mark
yeah.
Zuckerberg wants to assimilate you into his metaverse. He wants to put
I
his
already
nano.
am assimilated to the metaverse, man. I mean,
Not
like,
really. You returned your Quest. You went with the HTC Vive.
oh, that's still like the metaverse, dude. VR chat was first called the, VR chat was called the metaverse.
Oh,
And
it
Mark
was.
Zuckerberg stole it from us. Yeah, Mark
So Mark
Zuckerberg
Zuckerberg
stole it.
bought VR chat.
No, well, actually, no, he did. He bought VR chat, I think, a while ago because he was like a sponsor or something. I
Oh,
think
so he does.
Zuckerberg's
So
been sponsoring VR chat for a very long time. I think since it
so
first
if
came
he
out, but
sponsors VR chat, why does it not support have as good a support in the Quest as it does in the HTC Vive?
because I don't want to make the whole podcast about this because we're supposed to be talking about Tinder, but it's because Quest's not a legacy headset and it's a standalone headset. So with it not being legacy and with it being a standalone headset having its own operating system, own hardware and all of that, that's why
Okay,
it
okay.
runs a completely different version of VR chat. But if you do like Airlink or a virtual desktop, I believe that's not the case.
Well, anyway, getting back to Tinder, yeah, the one thing that was really annoying with Tinder that makes people really disillusioned is there's a lot of spam bots on Tinder, or at least there used to be in 2017, 2016. There would be fake porn accounts, and it would be a girl that would chat with you, and it would just be a spam bot. And she'd be like, well, hey, I need you to go to this website if you want to see pictures of me. And it would
That
be a
still
porn site.
happens on Instagram.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so that was always annoying. You got to
A
be
lot of
really
people use
patient.
Instagram as if it were Tinder.
Yeah, really, I've never hooked up with anybody. Well,
Well,
but it
I know
makes
because I'm on the app all the time.
well, Tinder had a thing where you link to somebody's Instagram, and
Yeah,
I remember that I actually tried to hook up with a couple girls through Instagram
people
because
use, yeah.
I found their Instagram link through Tinder, and they were like, "Well, we didn't match online. It's very inappropriate for you to contact me on Instagram." I'm like, God, you don't have to be rude. I was just trying to contact you. You were obviously advertising that you were single, and I was just trying to contact. Have a peaceful conversation. Have a nice life. I guess I'll never talk to you again.
Oh,
But yeah,
wow.
but no, I had to go through like thousands of matches before I was able
Mhm.
to, you were only the second Tinder date and probably one of 10 women that I matched with that I talked to on the phone. Most of the women that I talked to on the phone, I didn't meet up with because I didn't feel comfortable, or the there was one girl that like, well, you need to go to the bar and you need to buy me drinks, and so she was
Yeah,
just
I
trying to.
think the problem here is like I think as a girl I was really dedicated to Tinder and finding matches and stuff like that. And I think I may have actually I would go through, oh my god, I would like hack the app to see all the matches come up in I actually did this hack where you could see all the matches come up in like square tiles instead of having to swipe everything. But I was
How
really
did you do
hardcore
that?
and really dedicated. I forgot how you do it, but there's like a hack where you can do that. I forgot.
Oh,
It was like
okay.
some website. You would have to go to some website. It was like the desktop version of Tinder, and you could see like all the profiles on there and like vertical tiles. But I think I had maybe seen your picture a few times, but I was just swiping so quickly. But then eventually eventually like maybe like I stopped like the second time.
Oh,
But I
okay.
think I saw somebody who looked like you, and I was like swiping so quickly. I wanted to go back. I wanted to go back, but I couldn't because I was already like I was just like doing this
Oh,
swiping rhythm
okay.
thing. I
I
was
had
just,
been on there
yeah,
since 2014,
yeah. So I think
but
I had seen your picture a few times. Unfortunately, it took me a few times to actually notice you and then
well, it
like
was the
match with
hat
you,
that helped,
unfortunately.
right? This hat.
Yeah, that really helped. Yeah. Well, the fact that you have long hair, that long as well. I mean, it wouldn't have to be like the hat helps in addition, but just having long hair, I already know you're cool.
Oh, well, awesome, awesome.
But yeah, I remember, yeah, I was hardcore like hacking the app to see like, doing this, like going to desktop hack should try to see everything in tiles and stuff like it. But I just don't think a lot of girls don't spend that kind of time with Tinder. A lot of girls, I think, just wait for the guys to come to them and wait for the guys to match with them
They
and just
do.
kind of just sit. Yeah. And whereas like I wasn't like that. I was like I used it like how a stereotypical guy would use it. I used it more like how a guy would use it. And I was
Okay.
filtering out by age because I had this thing where I really wanted to date people who were like at least 30, so
Okay.
I was like filtering out by age and stuff like that.
Makes
It made it
sense.
easier for me to find you. Yeah.
A lot of women like older men, that they want men that are more mature, that are not
Yeah. Oh,
as like an
same.
immature,
Well, yeah, hello. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because like, oh my god, yeah, I had enough of dealing with younger, immature guys growing up, you know, and like, yeah, oh god, I had a
So
bad taste of that growing up.
what
It's,
was your weirdest Tinder
god.
date?
What was my weirdest Tinder date?
Yeah.
Oh, out of the actual, I didn't go out
I
with
only
a
had two
lot,
Tinder dates, so I can't
right?
even
I
really say
only
any.
had two Tinder dates as well before meeting you.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
had
so
one.
you you and I are both.
I had one Tinder date before meeting you. I had 10 women that I matched with that I talked to on the phone, but we never really
I
worked
only
out.
had two.
And then I had um the crazy Trump supporter who I could have met, but I decided not to because she's just too crazy about Trump.
Now, I wouldn't say any of the Tinder dates that I had were extraordinarily like crazy in any aspect. I mean, my parents were highly involved in the process and were really screening people out way
Okay.
above and beyond what I wanted to. So that kind of like prevented the possibility of hooking up with anybody crazy. So I never really hooked up with anybody too crazy, actually. I mean, I don't really have an outrageous Tinder date story at all. But
Yeah.
I more so,
Well, it has a lot of bad. The reason why I wanted to bring it up on my birthday special is that we've been dating consistently since February 2017.
mhm.
So we've been dating for almost 5 years.
Oh yeah.
One more month, it'll be 5 years. And Tinder has a bad rap as being just a hookup app, and you know, and not really taken seriously, So, but I just wanted to let people know that you can sometimes meet somebody on Tinder and it can work out.
Right. I mean, I think Tinder is actually one of the best dating apps out there because everybody knows about it and it's free.
Yeah, the only gripe I had about the Tinder app was this happened to me in 2017. If you're not careful, you can accidentally upgrade the Tinder Gold, or at least it used to be in
Oh
2017.
yeah,
And it
same. I
charged me,
had
it
that
charged
same
me like
problem.
$120. And then I had to
Hmm.
call Apple tech support and
Yeah.
get a refund and cancel that because I did
Yeah.
not, I didn't like that they put in to where you could just accidentally misclick and upgrade the Tinder Gold, and then and then you get charged $120 for an annual agreement or whatever. But for most people, I would still recommend Tinder, but just use the free app, because I think the free app, you're limited to 200 swipes a day, or at least that's the way it used to be in 2017. Um, and that's what I would recommend. Just use, because 200 swipes a day, that's
Right.
more than enough that you could probably meet somebody. You just got to be patient. It might take you a few weeks, but I would recommend just doing it that way.
Oh yeah, but I do have a crazy, outrageous Tinder story that didn't involve to meeting up in person, but it was more like a phone call.
Okay.
So it was my first, I think it was my first match on Tinder. It was this guy who was like affiliated with the military who liked to like sail on the ocean or something. He liked to do stuff with boats or something like that.
Okay.
And he wanted to have sex with me out in the middle of the ocean. And he was like, if you could teleport here right now, would you let me how the guys like are like, oh, I'm gonna destroy you, like sexually destroy you. Yeah, that's kind of like what he was saying. And I
That's
was
kind
so
of creepy
awkward.
considering you don't even know him yet.
Fuck. Yeah, I told somebody else about, the guy who wanted to eat, yeah, at a fast fancy restaurant. I told him about that and he even thought it was creepy. But yeah, like, so basically I was so uncomfortable. I didn't really know what to say. It was so awkward and I was just like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. And he was like, okay, if you really want it, you're gonna take an Uber and get out here if you really want it. And I was like explaining to him about my
That's a
situation,
big
my
red
parents, and
flag.
so
I mean, I guess he just wanted a one night stand,
yeah, and the fact that
or he was a serial
he was
killer.
like wanting it out in the middle of the ocean, like
That's
that.
kind of creepy. That sounds like a serial killer. Like, I'll done with you. I'll chop your body up and throw you in the ocean.
Yeah, yeah. And even that I knew like that was dangerous. I knew that was bad. Even I knew that guy did not, that did not sound good. Even I knew that
So that was
at
the
that
only
age.
weird Tinder story you had. Weird experience.
He was the weirdest.
The weirdest. Were there any other weird experiences?
I've had this one guy say you want to fuck. Like no introduction, no hello, just you want to fuck.
I guess you wanted to get to the point. It's like, man, I need a quick hookup.
Yeah. It made me uncomfortable, but I laughed. Yeah. And the worst part about it is he actually went to the same college. He was actually going to the same college I was going to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I
Did
had
you
the
ever run into
possibility of
this
running
guy?
into him as a student. Well, I may have.
You don't
I
know.
may have, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I mean, well, if I looked at his profile enough and his name, maybe. But I mean, you know, um, I don't. Not that I recall. I don't. I don't know. Not that I recall. But
Okay.
we could have just seen each other. But I didn't actually. From what I recall, it's I mean, I have no knowledge of it. If we crossed paths, I have no knowledge of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me as a guy, it was very hard to meet women. Either I
Hmm.
didn't want to meet them or they didn't want to meet me. And the problem I had was you either I ran into a lot of spam bots, or there were a lot of women who were flaky. Like they would chat with me 2 or 3 text messages and then they would just stop responding. And it's like, hey, if you don't want to talk to me, just tell me so I know where I stand. But like, I got ghosted
I
a
think a
lot.
lot of girls are on there looking for like Mr. Right.
Yeah, they're looking for Mr. Right. They're looking for Joe Millionaire, I think.
Oh,
Looking
more
for
so
somebody
that
to,
gold diggers. Yeah, I'm
but
sure there's
yeah,
plenty of gold diggers. Yeah,
and if you don't put off the vibe, I put off the vibe that I'm an indie
they're
artist.
looking for chads.
I'm tight
They're
on
looking
money,
for chads.
looking for chat.
Yeah, they're looking for
And
chads.
that female Trump supporter, she was definitely a Karen before I even knew what the term Karen meant. But yeah.
I had met and dealt with a lot of Karens before I even knew what the term Karen meant too.
And then you also ran into a problem where somebody would identify as female, but they were obviously a guy, and I'm just not attracted to men.
Right.
And they weren't even identifying as transgender. They would identify as a gay guy, but they would purposely list. They would be like, "I'm a gay guy looking for men, hook up with men," but they would purposely list themselves as females so that they would have access to straight men. Because I know that some gay men, not the majority, not all of them, but some gay men enjoy trying to hit on straight men to try to turn them gay, because that's like a fetish that some gay men have.
Hmm. Yeah, the problem is Tinder doesn't have any filters for LGBTQ if you're looking for that. They don't have the filters for that. It's just females or males
Yeah, so
from when I
a
was
lot of
using
men.
it. So what are they gonna do, right?
Yeah, that's true. I can't really blame them for doing that. But yeah, no, it took a long time. I used it for a couple of years before I used it for a year before I had my first match. Well, there was a girl that I met who introduced me to Tinder, and I don't even remember her name. This is back when I moved back to LA permanently in early 2015. I was staying at the Adventurer Hotel, Tradewinds Hotel. It was a hotel slash hostel.
I forgot
And
how I found out about Tinder.
anyway, and there was a lot of people who were living there, and I lived at that hostel for a few months, and it was kind of a surreal experience. Like, just like people would live there, they'd be cleaning the hostel rooms and kick everybody out of the hostel, so you had really nowhere to go except for the tiki bar. And they had a tiki bar, then they had a regular bar, and everybody would hang out and socialize. And there was this girl, and she was very attractive, and she was telling me her nightmare Tinder story about how, like, she'd hooked up with this guy and she fell in love and she had amazing sex with him, but then he kind of ghosted her and wanted nothing more to do with her. And then she went on another Tinder date, and then she went to Taco Bell, and then there was some ghetto lady yelling hot fries for my baby. She had like a baby at Taco Bell, this woman in front of her, and she's like screaming, being really obnoxious, like hot fries for my baby. And then she said some homeless man with bloody hands came up and groped her breasts. And, it was like a total nightmare date from hell on Tinder. And so she told me some of her, heartbreak. And then it got really weird. She was like, hey, maybe we could have a hotel room. And she insinuated that me and her could have sex. And that was a little bit of a red flag. She was smoking hot though, but still, she's just, I don't know, very bipolar about Tinder. And I have one short video clip, which I never released, where I started to interview her, and then she just turns her face away from the camera because she had changed her mind at the last second that she didn't want to be interviewed about Tinder. So since I know you and we've been in a long-term relationship, kind of a long-distance relationship, I figured it'd be interesting for my birthday to do a face-to-face Zoom meeting, and we could talk about our Tinder experiences. Some people might find it interesting.
Okay, yeah, I hope so.
You
I
don't feel
think I may have.
you feel comfortable about talking about this stuff or
Oh
not?
yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean, I'm recording, but
I'm just
it's not
tired.
it's not
I'm just a
uploaded.
little tired.
We got 3 minutes left. We got 3 minutes left
I'm just a little
because
tired.
I keep my podcast
Well,
under
I
30
think I
minutes.
found out about Tinder from I'm not sure. I found out about it at the same time I found out about Snapchat, I think. But it may have been through a radio show, maybe, because I listened to talk radio a lot growing up.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not really sure.
It's
Like
notorious.
I know that Nikki Six had this thing going on for a little while there called Six Sense. He actually had a talk radio show going on for a
I
little while
remember
there.
you told me you used to follow
Yeah,
that
it might
really,
have been through that or something like that. It might have been through that. I'm not really sure how I
but
found out, or it might have been just simply an ad on Instagram. Maybe something
but
just maybe a sponsored ad.
he stopped doing Sixth Sense, is that correct?
Oh yeah, he stopped quite a few years ago, but he was still doing it at the time I was around like 18.
So
Even
why did he
before that.
quit doing the show? It sounded like an interesting show.
Um, I think it's because like he wanted to kind of like spend more time with have a new family with his wife, like have a kid, and I
Oh,
think he wanted to
okay.
spend time with kid. I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah.
So
Okay, we're now at
he's
time.
whipped. He's whipped all the way by his wife.
I don't really
In other
know.
words, dominated. He's dominated by his wife.
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
You don't
follow Nikki Six anymore.
No, I do. It's just that I'm not like gonna be the judge and the jury for that. I'm not like, it's not in my place to say like, it's not my place to say that, you
Fair
have
enough.
to make your own observation. I don't know. He says that he's very happy with his marriage and stuff on social media, so that's all I know.
Well, that's good for you because now you have Commander Baylock mask.
But this is getting messed up. We're digging out skeletons out the closet here, shit.
I'm just teasing.
Uh,
We got 1 minute left, but yeah, actually we're out of time, so I should wrap up. Anyway, thanks for joining me. This is Steampunk Star Raisin of The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it, episode 51, January 18th, 2022, special birthday edition, my birthday, a special tender edition interview with my girlfriend, Rockann. You have a nice day, and I'll see you 25 billion years, Will.